record, and then mute all.
He's muted.
All right. Okay, I see, let me see. I still see participants here trying to get on. So they'll slowly get on, I think, because of the volume of it. The waiting room is enabled, so they should be able to pop on as we go through this. And then we'll have a recording for sure. Well, okay, we are here, 2021 school year. What an exciting time for us at Seattle Lutheran High School and many schools around our nation and in this area for sure. So I did put together a PowerPoint that I want to share with everyone, but before we get started with that, I wanted just to make sure we all kind of understand that how important it is that we stay together. And I think as we look at what's coming our direction and how we move forward in this, and we even be better as an educational institution, I think the key for us is to stay together with this. And even though we might have families that do different things, that we all are part of Seattle Lutheran and the community that we have. So I feel like that's a real important part for all of us. You know, from my perspective, God gives us a brand new start every day. Every day we get out of bed, every day we wake up, we have a brand new start. And from the perspective of now, with this new process here at Seattle Lutheran, I look at it as a brand new start for us. And we're looking at taking this opportunity to grow and taking this opportunity as well to get better in the educational process that we do. So let's start with the PowerPoint here. I've got some videos and different things in there. And then, like I said, we'll get to some questions afterwards and walk through some things that way as well. Okay, let me share my screen here. All right. There we go. So, you know, Seattle Lutheran High School, as I mentioned, has been around for 43 years, and we've done many different things in those 43 years. But as we look at who we are and our core, we are personal. We are a school that looks at the individual student and family, and we want to build success with them and in partnership with the family. As well as many of our teachers we talked about last week, is I'm so impressed on how we see not necessarily who you are now, but as you grow and are moving forward. So it's really important that we keep that in mind. And as the board made these decisions, they did look at the core value of Seattle Lutheran and the idea that we are not all in or all out, we're personal. And what we want to do is make sure that we have that partnership with our families. And that's a key for us as we go forward. So I'll start with this video. This will give us some good energy and nice pictures from previous years a little bit, but also just bring us back to a little bit here.
Of another sandstorm, our 8th of the day. Can't catch a break in the weather here as we see all 6 machines now in action and the clock winding in.
All right. So I see that last picture of that video was masks on during our stained glass class. And who'd have thunk that, you know, we'd have some visionary things a few years ago that shows us what we're going to be starting off with this year a little bit as well. So I want to revisit our mission statement as well. Seattle Lutheran High School provides a Christ-centered and student-focused environment that equips young people in their educational and spiritual journeys to be servant leaders in the world. I think that's a real important piece for all of us to kind of refocus on and look at the idea here that we want to be student focused, and we want to take that opportunity to allow students to grow in what's comfortable for them. And again, back to that core idea of being personal with families in what we're trying to do. It's really important that we listen to our students. It's important that we listen to our families, because it is a partnership. It is something that we do together. It's not an individual, we're doing this and you join us or not. It's a partnership. And in our board meeting, and also in the thought process in the last month and a half, it has been about that for sure. All right, so I want to remind all of us who've been on town halls before, but maybe have forgotten, one of the things as we move forward, we want to keep our eyes on are these three focuses for our student and learning in this environment. We want to teach initiative. We want to make sure students now that are moving in 2021 and beyond leave here with some initiative in how they approach education, learning, and life. We want to establish some independence. We were forced in that this last spring when we had to have everybody stay at home, and students had to be independent in what some of the learning processes that they did. And by far, we were so impressed with how diligent they were and how hard they worked in some of in those areas. But we do have to start that a little bit younger now with our students. Normally, we would think that independence would come junior and senior year, but we do have to start a little bit younger because of the surroundings and where we are. So we want that emotional intelligence and that self-confidence to be part of what we do right away. And then innovative thinking. Obviously, this is an example of being innovative and thinking from the board to the parent advisory team to the teachers. Everybody is working at the innovation and thinking differently right now on how we can continue to love and serve our families and especially our young people. And so those three areas are kind of those beacons that we want to keep remembering as we move through this and talk through this. So as was mentioned out on the email, the board had a meeting last Thursday and did decide to look at this process here that we've talked about. This is not a new slide. This slide has been in our last 2 or 3 town halls. And we wanted to fit these pieces together in that process. You can see that there's a standard block schedule that has been brought up, and now we're going to use for 4 days, and 1 day we're going to have every period in that day. So that's kind of an innovative way to do it. 4 days, and then 1 day of maybe some some learning at home and home-based learning. And then we also have the staggered start times. So when we come in the building, we don't come in all in one big group. There's different times. And also because our schedule team and course team did a great job, there's also times for you to leave. Students can leave early because they have the credits that they need or the classes that they need. So that again helps us with the COVID-19 things that we want to put in place when we're in building. And then structure for students, right? We want to make sure that we give students structure a little bit more than what we did last year at the end during the spring. I thought we did a pretty good job. Actually, the teachers did a pretty amazing job of adding structure in and giving families and students a little bit more structure. But we do want to do a little bit more with that. The state requirements are kind of, last spring, they were kind of in an emergency realm, and now there's still, they're asking us to do a little bit more structure, which we're happy to do. And then down below, again, we have the innovative thinking and initiative. So, all right. So what we're going to do is we're going to call this the confidence phase, and that's where we're at. The phase is a great term all around us. We're in phase 1, phase 2, phase all this stuff. So I just piggybacked on that, and we're going to have a build confidence phase where we start off here. And so we're going to begin with, we have some in-building classes and some teaching with the adaptive block schedule. And then we also have virtual options for families and for teachers as well, using that same block schedule on those certain days. So we want to make sure that the families understand that everyone is different. Everyone has different feelings towards maybe what's in their house, their medical condition, all these things. And so we would love families to make a decision here in the next 24 hours on if they would like to start with us in the building or if they were going to start with us virtually. And we are going to stream the classes that are all the classes. So if a teacher decides that they want to teach and teach from home because of restrictions and medical things, then we're able to stream those things from home as well. And we'll be building that. We'll be building that as we go. And so I think we'll start off with a good, solid foundation, but then add more things as they come in to the process. One of the things that we really want to work on is, as we look at last spring, we were looking at how can we help families with their social-emotional thing with their young people and what that looks like. And we want to be a part of that communication as well. We don't just want to do content. We want to be a part of how we can help the young people grow into the young adults that they're going to be. And so it's real important for us to have those interactions and those choices for the families, as well as if they need, we can do some things virtually with that as well to build those connections. So that's where we are right now as we start off. The next two slides are going to talk a little bit about how we're going to implement that in building as well as with virtual ideas. But before I go there, I do want to say that we're having what we're going to call an Impact Day, IMPACT, on Wednesdays. And those days, we're going to be virtual for all the students. They're going to be at home, home-based learning, or in small groups according to what they decide. And our teachers are going to do some virtual teaching for that day. And there's two purposes for that. One is to make sure that we keep the building clean and we keep all the conduct and the CDC and all the things that we needed to get done in the building. And number two is to make sure that we're developing a program for the students to be prepared. Prepared for Governor Inslee coming on and shutting down, or prepared for their next college course that's going to be online. So we want to make sure all the students have this opportunity to continue to get better at the virtual learning, and our teachers as well, so they can try new things and do things that way as well. So that will be Wednesday. It'll be called Impact Day, and we'll get some more information out on that as we go. Okay, so the next slides are the implementation. Sorry about the font on this. It is on the website if you want to pull it up after we're done here and look more, and we'll also be sending it out. So basically the August 31st is our registration day, and so that's Monday, a week from today. And we will be sending out for those who want to register virtually. I've already got some people that have signed up to do that, so we'll put you in a group as well, and we'll register with you virtually. Those of you who want to register in building, we're going to put you in smaller groups and have you enter and register in those smaller groups as we come through that. And so that will be Friday for our registration day. We'll be sending out kind of times when that happens, maybe even do some kind of like a sign up genius for that. But we need to know from you, first and foremost, are you going to be a virtual student or an in-building student? And so that's our really next thing that we need to know from all of our families in order to build some of this opportunity. And then we go into what would be Tuesday. And in the past, we've done what's called a download day, where we take the applications that we need, Schoology and some of the other things that we use, and make sure those are all on our devices. We will be doing some of that, but mainly on that Tuesday, we're going to be doing some training with the students in building on COVID protocol and what are the things that we are going to be expecting of you in this protocol that we're going to start the year with. And we're going to do a lot of training with that because it's really important that we build that trust between the students and us that are here in the building to make sure that we're in this together, right? And I know that there's a lot of different ideas and thoughts out there about how to handle this and what to do. We just want to make sure that we're staying together in this and working for each other and what that looks like. And so that's that Tuesday. And then we'll also be having some opportunities for students to download what they need and ask questions virtually as well. And so we're working those details out. Wednesday then would be our first impact day, and that would be next Wednesday. I think that's the second. And so that would be where all the classes would happen virtually from the teachers. And what I've told the teachers is I want them to really work on relationship building, and also maybe helping with the virtual approach and what works and what doesn't work, and how we can get out the kinks on that as we work through that on Wednesday. Thursday then would be an in-building and virtual day for the teachers, both the teachers that are in virtual and here in the building. But we're going to have the students in their classes, their freshman, sophomore, junior, senior classes to start that day, because we are going to work on more training of protocol in the building on what that looks like, and how we can handle just simple things in the building that we used to be very simple. Now there's going to be some steps to take while we go into the bathroom or doing different things throughout the building. And we want to do some training with that as well. That would be the schedule, which is coming up. And we would do the schedule, and the teachers would be teaching their classes either virtually, and in between the times that they're teaching is when we'll do the training with the students that are in building. Virtual students will have their normal schedule on that day. They will have their normal courses of that at that time. Friday, we have off already for the long weekend, and then we're moving into the next week. And that Tuesday, when we come back, we're going to be in the same groupings, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors in the building. The virtual groupings will be out there, and then we'll evaluate and see how well we're ready to start the actual courses in the building, moving from class to class, and the timing of all that, because we want to minimize the amount of time students are kind of passing each other. But I think with our class sizes and with the size of the building and the classrooms, I think we're in a really good spot to make that happen for sure. So that's an important piece for us as well. So moving forward with that, let's see. And then we'll evaluate, and we'll move week to week from that. One of the things that's this is going to take is some flexibility, of course, and opportunities for us to get a lot better in what we do and how we do it. So that's an important piece for us as we move through this. So that's the implementation piece of this as we move forward. Here's the schedule that they have come up with. Amazing work that the course team has done. Shirley Bradenberg and Andy Merlino and different people have worked all summer, and then all of a sudden we revamped it all again as well. And so this also will be on the website, so you can pick it up and get a little bit better look at this. A block schedule for Monday and Thursday, and then a block schedule also for Tuesday and Friday, with the Wednesday being the impact day as we go through it. So in this schedule, part of the training process I was talking about is going to be like lunch, outside, social distance, all those things that if you're working at virtually, that's not part of your training process. But if you're in building, we're going to have to train that and walk through that as well. So that's an important piece. All right. This is kind of gives you a look of what's out there. We've got some shower curtain liners up already, and we've got different things going. So our safety is there for in building. On the website, we'll have the parent advisory safety plan. That was a 24-page document that they came up with. That's a board approved as a working plan, meaning there's going to be some adjustments to it. We have to make sure that we all understand, we're going to have to move like a speedboat, just like we can at Seattle Lutheran, to make those adjustments. So that plan will also be posted on the website, and you'll be able to read through that and see that. But no, it's a working plan that, things change really quickly with everything that's going on around us. But we wanted to get that out there as well. These are some ideas of things that we're going to be doing in building. Of course, this is for the in building students, if you choose to be in building with that. All right. Well, very good. Well, I've got one more video here to show, and then I got some ways that we can partner together from the parents' perspective with us. And in this video, I'd like you to listen to the valedictorian. Maybe you saw it on the Sunday email as well. But really what he gives us is that hope. And we have to understand that that hope is a real important piece and tool to what we do. So let's watch this for a minute.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thanks for clicking on the email. I hope your Sunday is going well. Please enjoy the speech from our 2020 valedictorian for this week's kind of Meyer Minute.
We were so ready to take on being leaders of school, and we were ready to take whatever this year had to offer and make it the most memorable year yet. We went through the year knowing it was our last. We made the most out of it every day, having no regrets because this was it. We made it through the first semester and even J-term, and we finally got to March. We could see the finish line. What we worked so hard for 4 years now, we saw the light at the end of the tunnel. All those sleepless nights, long days, and hundreds of hours put into studying was all going to be worth it. Then we were thrown the biggest curveball anyone could have imagined. Why us? Why, after all these years, what we had done, the one thing that kept us motivated, taken away from us? It didn't seem fair. It isn't fair. Out of all the years, out of all the high school graduating classes, it had to be ours. We started with 17 and grew and overcame so much adversity in our high school careers. This class is so special because we never gave up. We had the easiest excuse to give up and be frustrated and upset about our senior year being taken away from us. We could have thrown in the towel right then and there, the day we found out we weren't coming back to school for the rest of the year, but we didn't throw in the towel. We didn't give up. We persevered through all the adversity, and now we are here today about to graduate. As I wrap up this speech, I want to leave the graduating class with a quote. Tough times don't last. Tough people do. Robert Schuller. And I want you all to ask yourself, what kind of experiences will you create for yourself? What kind of memories will you make? When things don't go quite as planned like this year, how you handle the disappointments and challenges that you faced will determine the experience that you have and the memories you will walk away with. I'm so incredibly honored and proud of every single one of us here today. We have conquered the unimaginable, and we have made the best possible outcome of what we were handed. I have made everlasting friendships because of this school, and so many memories I will cherish for the rest of my life. Thank you to all the teachers and administration for helping us get through the hard reality, which is high school. Thank you for never giving up on us, even when we wanted to give up on ourselves. Thank you to everyone that has supported us through these past 4 years. We truly couldn't have done it without you all. And finally, thank you to my fellow classmates for pushing me and everyone around us to live up to our potential. These last 4 years have been the best 4 years of my life, and it's all thanks to all of you. Congratulations to the class of 2020. Thank you.
All right. And so, well, how can we partner together? And I'm going to close this down here because I got a few people that aren't getting into the waiting room, so I'm going to try to get them in. Just take a look at these 3 items, and that's something that we can talk about as we go together in this process. But I want to reach back to the idea of what was shared there in the in the talk from the valedictorian, knowing that we are all about response here at Seattle Lutheran, and we need to make sure that we all respond in the way that's appropriate for our families, but also in the way that's appropriate for us to be together and to walk through this together. That's a really important piece for us. And I think for all of us to understand that, no one really called for this. No teacher really wants to move to the virtual. No one wants to do this. But sometimes we're given what we need, not necessarily what we want. And I really believe that God has a great plan for us at Seattle Lutheran. And we need to do the best with what we think is the best. And that's what the board has done here with this decision-making process. And I really believe that it will make us better as a school for the future. In educationally, one of our teachers mentioned that, we could bring in virtual teachers from across the country if this works the way we would like it to work as we go through this. So that's a really important piece for us. And you are a strong partner for us. We do ask that you, when you receive that email tonight, that you respond within by midnight tomorrow night for that. And then from the standpoint of knowing that, we can put class sizes together, knowing right now that even though we've capped our enrollment, so we don't have any classes right now that are bigger than 16. And if we do, we're going to whittle those down. So we make sure that we are 6 feet spacing in the building and what that looks like. But also, once we know who's online and who's going to be in building, we can also look at the class sizes from there. So that's number one. What I would like to see from all of you in a response to what we're doing is respond to that email with what your choice might be. And know that every choice is a great choice because we're working in this together. And so from there, then what we want to do is we want to make sure that we have those of you who are in building and everybody part of the parent advisory group that put together the safety plan. There's a family pledge on that. And that will also be on the plan and uploaded to the web or our website. And that talks about really what the governor was doing when he kind of gave us the choice to put this together. All right. So I just really want us to understand that we got to, as a community, work together and be clear with that as we go through it. And then finally, there's an opportunity to help both with your time, to help with, cleaning up around the outside area and getting it spiffed up, but also to help with time at home to make sure that virtual is going okay, as well as donations of finances, because this is going to cost us a little bit more than what we were expecting with streaming and things like that. So you can do that as well on our website under the grant portion of the giving. So, all right. Well, I know there are a lot of questions on there. I can see that. And Tammy's monitoring the chat room for me. I really appreciate that, Tammy. Is it possible, Tammy, for you to unmute and see if we have some more here to go through some questions?
Yes, I'm trying to write down as we go. Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So the first one I noticed that might be a good place to start is what's the difference between the two models of when a student is in person at school versus at home? Are those the same schedules? Are they different?
Yeah, great question. Great question. Yeah, same schedule. They'll be on the same schedule as in person, in building, and at home. So the teachers will be teaching during those block periods, So same schedule.
Okay, another common one is the process if you decide, for example, to go virtual and then your student decides in a few weeks they want to come to school in person. What is the process for that?
All right, very good one. Shirley Bradenberg and I just talked about that about an hour ago. I think that what we want to do is we want to do a lot of training to start with. So we're not, we'd like to train the students once we get started next week and the week after that. And then they could be the good trainers for other students as they come in the building. But we would like to go for a bit before entering the building again. Maybe October 1st would be a good one for us to get back to the in-building choice. Virtually, of course, is, if someone was sick or if someone needed to be home, the virtual piece can go home that way. But coming into the building, if you choose to start virtual, October 1st would be the time to say, hey, I want to come back in.
Okay, and then if a teacher is teaching virtually, does that change what the student does? Can you explain that a little bit more?
Sure. Teachers that are teaching virtually are basically allowing us to kind of match with what the students are doing. And so I look at that as a very positive thing for our teachers, because what they're able to do is kind of maybe see what a virtual student is going through as well as they're teaching virtually. Students in the building will be taking those courses from those teachers virtually, but they will be in the building and monitored with distancing and all those things in place. Our goal right now is to have that in place where students that are in let's say a class, I don't know which class is going to be yet, but the teachers are making that decision. And then they would be in those LRC, Student Center, or another place where they would be taking a virtual class, distanced and monitored with that as well. But the teacher would be teaching the class.
Okay, thank you. Along those same lines, we have a couple questions about setting that up. So, for example, a student wanting to do school virtually from home, is there something they need to do to come in to get their computer set up? Things like that ahead of time.
Right. Yeah. That will be done. That will be done on Tuesday, that training day, and we'll be reaching out to those students, as well as on Wednesday, the first impact day. We'll be making sure that everybody's kind of up and running and going through that. We really want to be working hard, so we're taking care of that, some of that stuff for the students, and not the parents, not falling on the backs of the parents to do that. But we will need some partnership in order to make that happen smoothly. And again, as we all know, nothing is going to be perfect here. But what we're going to do is we're going to learn from everything, and we're going to kind of grow and get stronger with it.
Okay, another common question coming through is, what is the process when a student or teacher is diagnosed with COVID-19?
So part of that plan, the parent advisory plan that's put on the website, you can read through that. That has all that processes laid out, and kind of walking through how we isolate, how we trace, all those pieces that they've come up with. Amazing team of people that have put that together. We also have been in contact with public health. We've been in contact with looking at the CDC requirements and all those things. So that's laid out there. And then we'll be defining that after everyone sees that. Now, I do have to reiterate, that's a working document. So there are some changes in that, and there will be other changes in that as we go through that. But the tracing, the isolation, all those pieces in are in that document as well.
Okay, let's see. Another common question is what platforms will be used, such as Zoom, Schoology, etc.
Thank you. Yeah, we're staying with what we had in the spring with the Schoology and the Zoom. The Zoom seems to be a really good way to stream classes as well. So we're excited about that. So that's a effective and also not easy, well, easier way to stream those classes. And so Zoom and Schoology will probably be the main sources for communication virtually.
Great. And something I just noticed in the chat, John just posted a link to the reopening plan. So an easy way to access that.
Oh, thank you, John. Thank you very much. Again, all this information should be posted on our website. I asked Dave Slater, who does that for us, to post that up. So hopefully that's right in the front page of our website as we go through. If you want to look at some more of the documentation, please do. And then you all be receiving an email with the question of in-building or virtual to answer by midnight tomorrow night, please.
Here's another question coming in a few times. Do we know yet how many teachers who will be coming into the building versus teaching from home?
Actually, no, we don't have a final number on that yet. We did take a straw poll last week from the teachers, and that was shared with the board. And so as the board was processing, how do we approach this with our students, we also wanted to see how we approach it with our teachers as well. And I think it's really important that we do that, because the relationship piece between the teachers and the students and the teachers in the school are really important, and they're so valuable. And so we want them to feel like they have an opportunity to be a part of the decision-making process, and also make our educational product better. I mean, I think the virtual teachers are able to kind of make us a little bit more innovative with what we do. So so they will be letting me know Wednesday. By Wednesday, I'll send something out tomorrow, and they'll be letting me know by Wednesday.
We've had a couple of questions about grading. Will that be the same as it's been in the past or different?
At this point, we're not changing our grading. At this point, we're going to move forward with that. Obviously, there's adjustments that might need to be made with with what what comes up next and how we have to deal with that. But we are really proud of the way we did it in the spring. We got compliments from universities and people that were seeing how we approach that. And again, that was another example of giving the families the opportunity to say, hey, this is really hard. We want to do it this way. And that partnership. Again, it's a huge deal for us to be partners with all of you folks. And I think our grading right now is going to stay the way it was. And our standards are going to be that way for everyone. Obviously, in all that we do, communication and talking with the teachers is the very best thing for that process.
A couple of questions in regard to things like spacing students. Will they be in cohorts? How will they eat lunch? Things like that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a real key thing for us. Once we know how many students are going to be in building, the lunch piece is something that we're going to be training, and which is why we want to start off in our classes and start off with the training process. And right now we're planning on lunch outside and spread apart, of course, with that piece in their cohorts, in their classes as they go through it. We also are working on how to stream classes and have teachers be outside, right? So it's interesting for them to have the opportunity to do virtual but teach outside. So we got to figure that out with technology. But we do want our teachers to teach outside a little bit more, especially as the weather is nice and as we go through that. So that's kind of the cohort idea and the spacing. Our classrooms are large. Mr. Hogerheid, Glenn Hogerheid, is our COVID director, and he has been already working, as I showed some pictures, with having some screens for teachers or some things for teachers, and then moving desks outside or not outside in the classroom. So we're doing that spacing for sure. Our hallways are very wide, so passing in the hallways is not a challenge if we can stagger our times for dismissal.
A couple people are asking about supervision for students within classrooms where the teacher is teaching from home. How does that work?
So it's a virtual class for the student, but in the building, they will be in a location in spacing and also with other students that might be in that class as well, spaced out, and they'll be monitored accordingly. But the teacher is going to be monitoring them just like they would also be monitoring virtual students. So the technology allows us to possibly get a camera in the classroom where the teacher can watch that and watch them in the classroom. But at this point, starting off, we'll have a location for them. And depending on how many classes are doing it at the same time, well, there'll be 2 locations where they'll be monitored, or 3, depending on how many students with the spacing that we need. So, so that's how we're going to handle that piece to start off with.
We're getting a couple of questions in just now about cohorts, just wanting to understand what that looks like and how those get decided.
Okay, so from the initial, when we talked about the implementation, we're coming straight in on that Thursday. I think it would be the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, maybe the 3rd. They're going to come in as freshmen. All the freshmen that are in building are going to be together. All the sophomores are going to be together. All the juniors are going to be together, and all the seniors are going to be together. So that's the cohort that we're going to start with that. And then we're going to train those students in those cohorts like that, and do that again the following Tuesday after Labor Day. And then we're going to make an evaluation to see if we can have students that have mixed classes with other students, if we're ready to do that or not. At this point with the schedule, we're looking at minimizing some of those classes because some of the electives like fitness, for example, is going to be an independent study. We'll have students be able to work out and do their own workouts and get an independent study credit for fitness. And so some of those things will be worked out like that we won't have those classes that intermix, because that's an important piece for tracing and things like that. So that will be an ongoing process as we go through how the cohorts stay together and how much they're mixed. Many of the classes history classes, English classes, things like that are with their specific grade. But the math classes and some of the world languages classes are a little bit mixed. And so we'll have to watch that as well.
I should probably mention too that there's lots of wonderful questions, and I apologize if I'm not addressing your specific question, and we will get back to you by tomorrow, Dave. Also, to answer individual questions.
For sure. Oh yeah.
So that people can make informed decisions about their student.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. And we want to make sure, that the information is out there for you to make a decision and understand how important that is for health and for safety of everybody in your family, as well as our teachers, as well as everybody here. But we also want to have an opportunity for all of us to be together virtually and in the building and move forward through this. So yeah, please, the questions that are coming up, if they're not being answered right now, you can also shoot me an email as well to walk through that as we go through it.
Let's see. You want more questions?
Yeah,
There's plenty.
Yeah, let's have a few more.
Okay. Let's see. A couple of questions about sports. Any update with that?
I think Glenn Hogerheid is on here. Glenn, are you here? Oh, maybe he is. Maybe he's not. Okay, so sports at this point are not starting until January. The WIAA has not started anything until January into 4 different seasons. So that's a kind of a hold off. And what we're working on is getting everything going academically and safely for the students. And then we'll start moving into some of the extracurriculars as they move forward. At this point, we're not offering the extracurriculars. We're just going to keep training and working towards that. And then they will slowly be brought back into us as we go through it.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go, Glenn. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So backing up, right now with athletics, we are in a no contest or no contact region or time frame. This would be like the beginning of August in any normal year. On September 28, if the phases move forward, coaches may contact players and run open gyms just like we would in the summer. On November 28, that finishes. Basketball practice begins on December 28. Basketball season runs from January through the end of February, playing 70% of their games. Volleyball and soccer will start the 3rd week in February with preseason. They will run through March and April, playing 70% of their matches. Spring season will start 3rd week of April, run through the end of June for baseball, track, and field. Again, 70% of their normal contests.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Do you want me to speak a little bit to some of these COVID questions?
Yeah, please. That'd be great.
Okay. So I saw there was a question on, are we using an app? As of right now, we are going to be trying out SurveyMonkey on the school website, and it has the questions on there. I will get an email notification because I'm doing the pre-screening at school. If a student shows up who has not been pre-screened on SurveyMonkey, I will do it there. I have a login form. We're going to give them a sticker so the teachers know they've been cleared. There was a question, what do we do if a student has COVID or a teacher? It is in the document, but I can be corrected if I'm wrong. I believe we will immediately, if we think or suspect someone with symptoms, we bring them into an isolation room and we send them home. And then we have to notify CDC and we have to contact trace back 48 hours. If the student tests positive or the teacher tests positive, anybody who's in that contact tracing has to quarantine for 14 days to see if there's symptoms. If the student or teacher tests negative, I believe then we if the contact tracing is healthy, then everybody can come back. I'm not sure if I answered that, but I hope that was right.
Thank you. Thank you. So in all of that, you know, it's a flexible and it's also a very safe plan as we're moving forward. So that's what we want to do, is keep that safe and keep that going. So there we are. Any more questions? I see some things popping out about Greg. Have a good point. I mean,
I can read it for you. A few people are asking, it'd be nice to know how many teachers and possibly which teachers will be in person versus virtual before families decide what to do with their student.
gotcha. I will get that information as soon as I can from the teachers. I have a few teachers that have already contacted me, but not all of them. But I will get that as soon as possible. All right. That being said, we have, you know, different services that are offered as well. And Nicole White is our student services director. Nicole, did you want to mention kind of what the next step is for you with that as well?
Well, student services is built around the other classes. So it's kind of once we see who's doing what, then I'll know where I'll be serving students. But I can do both virtual and in-person sessions for task management students this year. And we're offering all of our tier 3 courses as well.
Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. All right. So there's I see some logistic questions as coming through as I go tracing. So some of the things for the in-building, you know, coming through that plan will be very helpful to get through. And I know Glenn's answering some of the questions as well. So it's a document that is well worth the read. I think it's the team worked really hard to put that together. And it is a working document though. So if you have ideas and thoughts, you can let Glenn know as well as the team, and we can go. The list of the team members is also going to be posted online, just their names, and so we can connect you if need be as well.
We have a couple of students asking about registration day, what that entails exactly.
Okay, great. So once we understand who's going where and online, in building, those kind of things, we're going to reach out to the students. The teachers will reach out in students in groups, and those who are coming in building to register will be doing that in small groups on Monday, the 31st, and register, getting their schedules and doing some things that way as well. So the students that have already asked to be virtual registered, as well as others that would like to do that, we'll put those in groups as well and be reaching out to them and register in that fashion as well. So once we get our kind of list together, and then we will be reaching out to everybody and setting times up for that registration process.
Just trying to read through all of these. It looks like there were 2 questions from Greg, and I got one, but I'm not finding the other one if someone wants to retype it. Oh, this is nice. I know we have a lot of questions, but I want to express my gratitude for you trying to give our kids an in-person option. I can't imagine logistics and complexity.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, the goal of this is truly the goal of this is to have everybody stay together and be safe and feel safe and also healthy, and also have the opportunity to do what they feel is the best for them. And I think that goes back to our core of what we do at Seattle Lutheran from the very beginning of the school. We talk about that same thing when we talk about our religious faith and the way we approach that. It's not about making Christians. It's about people reflecting on who they are and leaving here knowing who we are, but also what they're going to be. And I think the board did a really good job of just kind of thinking through all of those processes and saying, okay, what is the essence of who we are as a school and a community? And there's a reason why we're unique in our size. There's a reason why we are who we are, and that's because of that. And so I really appreciate that statement, but it really truly is the essence of Seattle Lutheran. I'm just a joy to be the leader of it. And I appreciate the board going through this process as well. And the parent advisory team, oh my goodness, they were fantastic this summer. That being said.
There's a couple of questions about J-term and the predictions, if a trip will be able to happen this year, if we'll be able to have J-term, things like that.
Oh, well, yeah, I learned last week that I was putting together some visionary things and what to do. And I learned last week that we also need to have an opportunity just to go, one month, 1 week at a time at this point. With our calendar adjustments and with what we're doing, we still have J-term on our calendar and what that looks like. We obviously don't know about trips and things like that at this point. We can't say what that's going to do for us, but I do know that that's part of who we are and what we do. And so the teachers, myself, and everybody understands being innovative is part of that. So I wouldn't say any guarantees towards J-term at this point, except for the fact that something innovative is going to come because our teacher group is amazing. So we'll go with, it's on the calendar right now as of August 24th.
What is the maximum number of students that will be in each classroom?
That's a good one. So once we have the understanding of if everybody were to come in building, the course team is really working at maximizing a class, the largest class at all being 16 in a classroom. And that would fit in a few of our larger classrooms, or that would be in the student center where I'm sitting right now. We would move them for spacing and things like that. Most of our classes are going to be 2 sections. So for example, if we have over 20 student seniors, for example, they'll be in 2 sections of 10 or 12 or 13 students in each one. So we're really trying to minimize the classroom size as well with that.
Will students still be able to order lunch?
Yes, actually, we're working with a service right now that's going to help us with that process. So they will be ordering through a separate service online, and then the delivery will happen here in the building in separate containers, of course, COVID, with the COVID responsibility and precautions and all that stuff. One thing about the deliveries and one thing about through that plan, I think you'll see as you read through that, limiting who's in the building for sure. So we all want to realize that safety is our key and where we are. So limiting who's in the building parents wise, and also delivery people, things like that. We're just going to leave stuff at the door. We're not going to have the buzzing in. We'll have buzzing in, but we won't be buzzing in a lot of people is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Okay, here's one. Is there an opportunity to have partial in-person one day and virtual on another day, or even on the same day?
Oh,
this makes
interesting.
our students involved with community.
Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting concept. I can't answer that one right now, but I will write that one down because as we look at the courses and as we look at what that is, I would probably want to not encourage that for maybe the freshmen and sophomores, but maybe a senior. But we'll have to look at the schedule for that. That's a great idea.
A question about Monday. What are the details? What to expect when students arrive or are virtually registering?
Those will be forthcoming once we know how many students we have. When they arrive in building, there'll be a temperature check. There'll be the questions they'll have to fill out. Those kind of things are going to be part of the process in their small groups as well. And so that's a standard that's just for everybody now as we enter the building. We also, for the virtual, would probably be a Zoom. with a teacher or two to walk them through their schedules if they have questions and things like that. But we're still working out those details. Once we know how many are on each, on each side, virtual and or in building.
How will the building be sanitized on Wednesdays? It looks like Glenn just answered it.
Oh, thank you, Glenn. All right. Okay, how about one more, Tammy, and then we're about an hour here, so we'll.
Okay. I know I missed some, my apologies, but I'm looking for one. Thank you for people answering as we go along as well. That's helpful. Will there be in-person office hours for virtual students?
In-person office hours. So they would like to come in the building for office, to meet with the teacher.
I believe so.
Okay. That's another one with we'll talk with the teachers about those who are in building and doing virtual. I think that would be a teacher comfort question that they would have to answer as we go through that process. But I wouldn't want to eliminate that. I just think it's important. We want to eliminate how many people are in the building, but if it's after a certain amount of time when students have left the building and things like that, there might be some potential for that, but we'd have to look into that. So, all right. Well, everyone, I just truly appreciate your time tonight, your time this whole summer as we've been going through this. Many of you saw that the email that I sent out on Friday that just talked about how important it is for us in all the uncertainty of the last 5 or 6 months that we now kind of come together here and start the new adventure really of Seattle Lutheran High School and what that looks like. I've really turned a corner personally with this one, and I've been in this education business for a long time, and it becomes a little difficult to see how we can do something that I love so much in relationship with students and relationship with families virtually, and what that looks like. But you know what? I think we can, and I think it'll make us even better opportunity to open up some doors that we might not have been ready to open if we were staying the same as we had been before. So I think it's a really important piece for all of us to look at how we can make this together and make this a fantastic school year for our students. We all love them. We all love our teachers. We know that we want health and safety for everybody as number one. We also know that part of what we do is relational. A lot of what we do is relational. And we want to get really good at that, both in building as well as with all the COVID restrictions, as well as virtually. So know that we thank you so much for choosing Seattle Lutheran and being a part of this environment. We're open for conversation about this. We do have to move forward. We do have to take the next step. I'm just honored to be a part of it. So thank you all very, very much. If you have more questions, I will reach out to teachers right away in the morning. I will get a kind of an idea of what teachers and what that looks like for them. Honestly, the teachers all want to be in building. They all want to be here. But there's just, there's health concerns and there's other concerns for their family that we have to honor. But I do think that their value as a teacher just is so impressive that virtually they can do some things that are gonna really shine for us too. So that's where we are right now. I know God has us in a great place because we're all together. Thank you all very, very much. And we'll just keep praying together as we walk through these next few steps. Those of you who are on this call, I'm sorry, I forgot one thing. I just wrote it down. The carpool group, we probably need to get together and talk in the next day or two. I'll send something out to John to get everything going for the carpool group, and we can answer some questions that way as well. So blessings to everybody. Thank you, students. For those students that are on here, we love you. We are excited about this year. Just as the valedictorian said, you know what, we're going to take what we got and we're going to make it, and we're going to make it great. So And that's for you students, because you're going to do it for us too. All right, everybody. I'm going to close this up now. Thank you all very much.